I'm 26, born and raised in Texas. I met her during a tech conference in Austin about a year and a half ago. She was living in Los Angeles. We hit it off quickly. Long distance wasn't easy, but we made it work. At least, I thought we did. Calls every night. Good morning texts without fail. Virtual dates, movie nights, planning for the future. We talked about closing the distance eventually. Maybe I'd move to LA since her work was more location-bound. But that wasn't even the hard part. What no one tells you is that long distance doesn't just cost your time and effort, it costs money. A lot of it. Flights. Helping her cover rent when her freelance checks were late. I sent her money for groceries, her car note, even helped pay off part of her student loan. If I added it all up, it was close to $10,000 a month, especially in those last few months when she was struggling. I never hesitated. That's what you do for someone you love, right? It wasn't just the money. I felt like I was invested in something real. I thought she appreciated it too. She used to call me her rock. I had one of her house keys too. She gave it to me about a year ago in case of emergencies. I'd never used it. Not once. But then something changed. Her texts became shorter. Her calls came later. She started ending conversations with, "I'm just tired," instead of, "I love you." I asked if she was okay. She said she was stressed with deadlines. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. So I made a plan. I booked a 5-day trip to LA, didn't tell her. I thought it'd be romantic. I pictured the look on her face when she opened the door, surprised, laughing, hugging me like she hadn't in months. Maybe we'd talk about the future again. Maybe we just needed some time in the same place to reconnect. I landed late in the afternoon and took an Uber straight to her place. She lived in a small condo near Culver City. I stood at the door for a minute, key in hand, heart pounding, not from nerves, just excitement. I let myself in quietly. The place looked the same. Shoes by the door. Her sketchbooks stacked by the kitchen table. A half-eaten apple on the counter. I was smiling without even realizing it. I tiptoed toward her room, planning to sneak in and surprise her like something out of a rom-com. But life isn't a movie. The door was slightly open. At first, I thought I was imagining it. A low voice. Movement. Then I stepped closer and froze. She was in bed. With someone else. They were under the covers. His back was to me. He was on top of her. And they didn't hear me open the door. Everything inside me went still. I just stood there for a second, not sure if I was dreaming, not even breathing. Then she looked up. She saw me. Her whole body jolted like she'd been shocked. Her face twisted from confusion to full-on panic. The guy turned around too, confused and startled. He sat up halfway, pulled the blanket up to cover himself, and blurted out, "Who the hell are you?" I didn't answer. She scrambled to sit up, trying to hold the sheet over herself, stammering my name like she'd forgotten it for a second. I just stood there, watching it all happen like I was outside of my own body. And then she said it. "He's just an old friend. It's not what it looks like." That line. That tired, laughable, cliché line. And yet she said it like it could erase everything I'd just seen. The room was dead quiet except for the hum of a fan and the weight of the moment pressing down like a brick wall. I looked at her, sitting there awkwardly in the bed with the blanket barely pulled up over her shoulders, her eyes darting between me and the guy beside her. He looked as confused as I had felt just seconds earlier, only he didn't look guilty. He looked annoyed. Like I was the problem. "Seriously," he said, glancing at her. "Who is this guy?" I still hadn't moved from the doorway. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't crying. I think that unsettled her more than anything. She expected drama. Screaming. Maybe a fight. But I gave her nothing. Just silence and a stare. She started babbling. "Okay. Look, I didn't expect you. You can't just come into my house like this," she said, trying to sound angry but stumbling over her words. "You should have told me." I took a step in and said, "I used the key you gave me. Remember? For emergencies." The guy looked at her. "Wait, this is your boyfriend." She didn't answer right away. That pause told me everything I needed to know. And he caught it too. "You said you were single," he said flatly. "I didn't say that," she mumbled, clearly caught off guard. I didn't think it mattered. I was going to explain everything." "To who?" I asked. "Him or me?" She looked down, fumbling with the edge of the blanket, avoiding eye contact. It was strange. I'd imagined seeing her in person so many times over the last few months, dreaming of holding her again, walking with her, making breakfast in her kitchen. But now she just looked small, shrinking under her own lies. She finally said something that made me clench my jaw. It wasn't serious. It was just once. I blinked. That's when the guy stood up, grabbing his jeans from the floor and shaking his head. "Nah, I'm out. You didn't say anything about having a boyfriend. This is crazy." He glanced at me once and muttered, "Sorry, dude," before walking past me and out the door. The second he was gone, she scrambled out of bed and tried to approach me. "Please, just let me explain. It's not what you think." "You already said that," I replied. She reached for my arm, and I pulled back. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. I almost laughed. But you did mean for this to happen. She didn't say anything to that. Just stood there in silence, wearing regret like a blanket that didn't quite cover everything. I didn't plan it, she whispered. I was feeling lonely, and you were always busy. And I didn't know if we were still. Don't, I cut in. Don't blame this on me working hard to support you. I pulled out my phone, typed something quickly, then looked at her. Your card won't work anymore, I said calmly. And the Venmo is unlinked. You're on your own now. She looked stunned. Wait, what? You're seriously doing this? You seriously cheated on me, I replied. She stepped toward me again. I made a mistake, okay? But we can talk about this. Don't just throw everything away. You did that already. Then I turned, walked out, and closed the door behind me. I didn't slam it. I didn't need to. I walked down the steps of her apartment building and out into the street without looking back. I didn't need to. There was nothing left behind me worth holding on to. The California sun was bright, but everything around me felt muted, quiet in a different way. Not peaceful, not tragic. Just over. All the flights, the late-night phone calls, the care packages, the little notes I used to leave in her gifts. All of it meant nothing now. I got into an Uber and didn't say a word the entire ride to my hotel. Just sat there scrolling through old texts like I was reading someone else's memories. 1 week earlier, she sent me a selfie in a hoodie I bought her with the caption, "Miss you so much. I wish you were here." That same bed. That same room. And now this. When I got to the hotel, I canceled every auto payment tied to her name. Rent, groceries, that spa membership she always needed for her stress, her car insurance. All of it. Gone. The joint credit card we shared for emergencies, disabled. Passwords to streaming services, changed. The last thing I did was send her one message. You made your choice. This is mine. Please don't contact me. She read it almost instantly. I watched the typing bubble come and go for over an hour before she finally sent something. I messed up. Please don't hate me. I still love you. I didn't respond. Not out of anger, but because I genuinely had nothing left to say. Over the next few days, she kept trying. Voicemails where she was crying, saying she didn't know what she was thinking, that she panicked when she saw me, that it didn't mean anything. She even said she would come to Texas if that's what it took. But by then, her words had no weight. That wasn't a single mistake. That was a decision, one she made long before I ever walked through her door. I talked to a close friend of mine about it later that week. He asked me if I regretted flying out there. Honestly, I don't. If I hadn't gone, I would have kept pouring my time, money, and heart into something fake. I would have kept loving someone who was already gone. Closure hurts, but it's better than confusion. Weeks passed, and her messages slowed down. Eventually, they stopped. I heard through a mutual friend that the guy she cheated with blocked her too, once he found out the full story. Apparently, she told him we had broken up a while ago. He wasn't thrilled to find out otherwise. She lost both of us. The sad part? I think a piece of her really did care. But caring and commitment aren't the same. She wanted love without responsibility, comfort without sacrifice. And relationships don't work like that, especially long-distance ones. Now, months later, I'm doing better. I focus on work, I see my friends more, and I'm learning how to spend money on myself for once. I don't check her socials. I don't wonder what she's doing. If she regrets what happened, that's for her to carry. I don't need revenge. Silence is enough.